So I'm Rhoda Mwangi. First and most importantly, I am a beloved daughter of the Almighty God. I'm a lover of life. I am a realist that leans more towards optimism. I'm an optimist. I love freedom. I'm freedom motivated. I'm just happy to be alive and healthy. Yeah. By profession, I'm a nurse. That's what I was trained to do. But now a full-time entrepreneur, partnered with an American company called Forever Living Products. I had practiced for 2 years. 2013, 2 years before I met Forever Living. I was passionate with what I was doing. I loved what I used to do. I was very fulfilled with my job. And I felt very fortunate, first of all, actually, to get the jobs that I had as early as 21 years. I was already employed. I remember my first salary being around 30K. I was still living with my mom. So I just remember feeling very grateful and fortunate. Yeah, but I was also very ambitious and I was very hungry for more. I was still in my early 20s, so I was sort of discovering myself. You know, when you're in your early 20s is when you think you're like this, then you find out you're like this. You think life is as simple as this. You realize it's a bit complex. So I think I was discovering myself, discovering life, but also enjoying it all the way. Yeah, but I also remember feeling the heavy responsibility of the fact that I was already at work and you're a nurse taking care of people you've been entrusted to take care of. So there was also a sense of responsibility. My mom is a nurse, so I can say my biggest inspiration to get into nursing was definitely my mom. The fulfillment, for sure. It was very fascinating that somebody would come and they tell you their issue and you sort it and they are okay. I think for the most part, it's the fulfillment of helping another person feel better. My first job, I was a home care nurse. I was taking care of a gentleman at home. I was employed by their wife. So I remember going to work on a random day and getting a call from my colleagues. So when you're a nurse, there are shifts. So I was getting into my shift to relieve her. She goes for her off, like that. So she calls me and tells me, hey, let me just call the patient, Aaron, for his privacy. So she tells me, Aaron is not okay. He's actually not very responsive. He's breathing, but he's not okay. Can you just rush and come? And she said that because I was the longest serving nurse at that point. So I remember feeling so worried. I could not wait to get there because normally I knew the minute I get into the room and just call his name, he would turn, big smile as usual. So fast forward, I get into the room, I get to the house and I call his name and not even a head turn. And I can tell the breathing. I remember it very, very well. It was so scary. Long story short, I knew this is very, very serious. So the staff are there, the chef is there, the house manager is, everybody is looking at me. I'm literally 21, 22. The wife is not around. She's out of the country. The daughter, I think she was in school. So this is a 21, 22-year-old responsible for this gentleman. I remember feeling like this is not real. It's real because this is not a patient I would say was in a critical condition. He was very stable. So this was also an event I could not foresee. Anyway, so I remember the wife had left some emergency contacts. So I remember starting to call. I started off with the doctor. I told him, hey, Aaron is not doing well. We are coming to the hospital. Just prepare. We meet at the ER. I remember calling the ambulance. I couldn't even imagine I'm actually calling an ambulance. It felt so unreal. So I call the ambulance. I tell them, hey, this and this place, come really quickly. They come, they get into the house, and they're telling them, clear the airway. That's the first thing because I'm afraid he could actually aspirate his own secretions because he was really congested. Fast forward, we get into the ambulance. First of all, before we got into the ambulance, I remember feeling very emotional. And at that point, that's when I actually realized this is so real. And I actually care for this patient. This is not just a job and he's sick. I think, what do I do as a nurse? Let me go. I was like, wow, he needs to be okay. Aaron, you need to be okay. So I remember we got into the ambulance. I am so happy they allowed me to get to the back where he was put in the stretcher. And then I remember what I've heard people say, the hearing sense of anybody, even if they're sick or almost transitioning, is the last sense to to go or to die. They actually hear things. So I remember just saying, you know what, let me just speak life to this guy. You will be fine. Your vitals are perfect. They are good. Wow. I knew it was not that bad. That was actually lies, But again, I just want to speak life to him so that we can make it to the hospital at least. I remember telling him, we are almost at the hospital. Just hold on. Your doctor is waiting for you. You will be fine. We will be back home before you know it. And we get to the hospital. The first thing they do, they put an ET tube, endotracheal tube. That's how bad the situation was. So he stays the ICU for 2 weeks. He gets discharged. Life goes back to normal. So what that whole thing, I feel like that was almost the beginning of my nursing career. I felt like, yes, I was a nurse up to that point, but I felt like my nursing career was launched at that point. Like I was like, this is what you went to school for. It was amazing, but at the same time scary. But I'm happy it happened. It made me personalize my nursing career. The way people usually say, when it comes to nursing, either somebody got in there because they were told it's a very marketable profession, or they got in there because it's actually their calling. I felt like, hey, Rhoda, I think you are meant for this. That's what I felt. Like, if you could handle that situation. Like, I remember getting to the ER and the questions are being asked. I knew everything about my patient. I was like, wow. Okay, I'm actually doing this thing properly. I felt some level of pride. And when the wife eventually came back, when, this is a very high profile diplomat who is also in a very high level space of leadership. For her to actually say, Rhoda, you're actually a leader. That's the first time I was actually, by the way, told, you're a very good leader. Now, at that point, I could not understand. Nurse leader, what do you mean? Nurse, I could not understand. But now, where I am right now, I see what she was talking about. So I can say it built so much in me. And I knew there's more to me than just taking care of patients. After the home care nursing job, I was fortunate now to enter into corporate. So I was employed as a diabetes nurse educator with a multinational company here in Nairobi. And I remember now at that point, now I was 2.5 years, I had done 2.5 years as a nurse up to that point. Now, my gross income had not yet reached 100 Gs. And for those who are employed, after you've removed the deductions and everything, what is left is kidogo sana. So I remember just going like, okay, Rhoda, you love what you do. Every employer you've worked for, up to that point, appreciate what you're doing. I remember it was actually a very emotional thing leaving the first employer, because they were like, what do you mean you're going, Rhoda? What do you mean you're leaving Aaron? People appreciate what you're doing, you love what you do, but these ambitions of yours. Remember, I just remember being ambitious from when I was so small, by the way. I remember going to church and noticing that other kids are coming with cars. Sisi hatuna gari. I remember being ambitious from a very young age. So I feel at the point of 2.5 years of doing nursing, now I was at the brink of a year. Now, let's do something about it now. It was just the ambition of, and the open-mindedness of, and the decision to let's take action about it. That ambition and that hunger and that open-mindedness and that decision that I made, let's look for this thing that will get us to the next level, because clearly this income is not matching your ambition. You want to drive this, you want to travel to this place. Seriously speaking, either we stay naively optimistic and hope, I don't know for the best, I don't know from where, or just be serious and just go like, anyway, this might take longer or may not even actually work out, and let's now actually do something about it. That open-mindedness that I now embraced and going like, let's now make the decision to take the action towards these ambitious things that you want to work towards. My high school friend, I usually say when you're prepared for something and you're truly committed to actually take action, somehow the right opportunity finds you. So my high school friend Ruth called me on a random Wednesday and told me, hey, Rhoda, there's something that I've started. I like it. It's making sense to me. I'm still new, but I think this is something that we can do. What drew my attention, I remember going to that office, First of all, beautiful, beautiful office. I could tell, this is not a small thing. And then when the presentation was going on, it was the realness of it. First of all, I could see the products displayed right at the front of the room. So there was nothing to hide. I remember in high school learning about business. Business is the movement of products or services to the market for a profit. Good, they have products. Okay, makes sense. I remember seeing lifestyle, which is what I mean. I was now 23. I was like, yes, this is what I'm talking about. I could see the cars, I could see the travels, I could see the excitement of the people who had achieved those things. And I was like, this is where I belong. I just remember looking at it and I was like, this is something that I can definitely do. But at that very moment, did I think I'm going to resign? Not necessarily. Not necessarily. Maybe later on, but it was not like I thought that I was like, yeah, I can't wait to quit my job. Not really. But I started immediately. I was still working as a nurse. I was still reporting for work. Actually, the day that I came and so forever, I was reporting to work the following day. So I started off part-time. The thing about balance is one will somehow have to suffer, okay? What I usually tell the part-timers that are in my team is don't force a healthy balance, because you'll realize on weekends, obviously, you'll be able to put more time into your business. On weekdays, sometimes your schedule is so hectic. I don't want you to feel too guilty at the end of the day. Oh my goodness, the day ended and I didn't create in it or didn't have time to be able to put effort into my business. What matters is intentionality. I would say what made it work is I saw the opportunity. I knew what I wanted. It was very clear what I wanted. I saw the opportunity could deliver what I wanted. And I hopped onto the vehicle of forever, knowing it's getting me to my goal. It's going to get me to my goal without a shadow of doubt. So what that meant was, even if I had a full-time job, at the back of my mind, I knew, Rhoda, remember, those ambitions you have, those places you want to go, that car you want to drive, that freedom you want to achieve. Remember, as much as you love your nursing, that is, all those things are connected to forever. So that made me create time. Create time in places where somebody would go like, how did you even do those kind of activities during lunch hour at work? When you are not eating. But because I knew how important this opportunity was, I actually created time and I was very intentional. 5 months into the business, I moved up a rank. So in our business, when you start off, you're called an assistant supervisor. I went to supervisor on my 5th month in business. I was still a part-timer. In fact, I had just transitioned into the second job. It was my first month in the second job. So I became a supervisor. Now, the following month, which was December of 2015. So I joined Forever June 18th, 2015. Now, end of December, we go for what we call East Africa Rally. That is something that we do yearly. We go to a different country. It's a global company, by the way. Forever is a global company in over 140 countries worldwide. And we are now we've been operating for the past 47 years, for context. So I remember the East African countries were coming now to Kenya for the East Africa Rally. What I saw in that rally, I was collecting my jaw on the floor. Like what I thought Forever was it was amplified like times 10. I could tell, Rhoda, if you thought you could do well in this business, believe it, 100%. I just remember telling the people that were around me, imagine me, I'm resigning. And they'd be like, Rhoda, you're crazy. Gosh, that's so extreme. Relax. I'm like, no, this is it. So yeah, the rally definitely prompted me to want to resign. And sure enough, January, that was the following year, end of January, I handed over my resignation letter. Difficult decision. I cannot say, I could not wait to get into that boss's office and tell him it's done. No, it was difficult. Tears were involved. Colleagues were involved to tell me, are you sure? It was actually a very dramatic, not to say that it was bad, a negative situation. It was a true dilemma because, again, I loved my nursing career. My mom, interesting enough, has always given me the freedom to make my own decisions. I usually tell people who ask me, what did your mom tell you? I remember getting to the house and sometimes I would tell my mom, actually, this thing, they say me, I want to do it full time. Now I've decided, and I should be like, but they would do it. Yeah, resign. Let's do this full time. And then there are days I'd be like, but mom, see, I've even made a rank still doing the business part time. I can still juggle. So there are people who have done so well doing the business part time, and she'd be like, "Yeah, but you don't have to resign." So my mom was not helping me. She was not helping me per se. Let me just say she was supportive. My mom was my first client, by the way. When I got my first pack, she bought the first full skincare kit. She was among the first 5 people to top 5 or top 7 to join my business fully with the starter pack. So she's been my number one supporter for sure, and I appreciate her for that. God bless her. I mentioned I started the business June 18th, 2015. Let me see. I just remember, first of all, I was very excited to join Forever. I keep telling people, the night that I saw this business, I remember walking in town and asking myself, do people know what is happening? Like, do people know this exists here in Kenya? And I remember storming in my mother's house and telling her in our vernacular language, sisi tumetajirika, mom. And I remember feeling very excited. Remember when I also said what the person that I was before even the entrepreneurship thing and everything. I was discovering life. I was discovering myself. And that reflected in my beginner phase, because the way I was excited to join the business, I knew automatically all my friends, everybody that I knew would definitely see it and join immediately. We run together, be successful together. I was very naive. And shock to myself. That is opposite of what happened. The vibe I would get, if I can summarize, is, where Rhoda fanya. And then, if it works out for you, I will come back and see if you're going to join you. So I just remember realizing, the people that I know, if I depend on them to be my clients and my team members, I will not be able to move. So after resignation, so let me just say my first 5-6 months, I was, for the most part, telling everybody that I knew. And the only people that joined was my mommy and a friend of mine, Lillian. Love her. That's a very close friend of mine till date. So after resignation, I realized, okay, now this is real. There's no more salary. We either make it here or not. There's no other plan B. So I remember going like, okay, I'm selling the products. But at that point, I was selling the products very well. I was moving the products, I was making my profits, and I was making a substantial amount of money that was almost getting to the amount I was making as a salary. Now, so I thought to myself, if I'm able to do this, and at that point I was actually generating leads for my product sales online. So I told myself after resigning my job, what if I do the same for team members? What if I promote the business opportunity itself online and find people that I can be able to partner with and do the business? That's what I did. And I got connected with different people, but I can say the gentleman that I met, that after that connection, after sharing the business opportunity with him, partnering together and starting the business, everything shifted from there. Is a gentleman called Clinton Waga, wherever you are. I appreciate you so much for believing even when there was really not much to show. Yeah, so I can say the beginner phase was just a lot of naivety, but also a lot of excitement and hope that, it may not look like it's picking up, but I don't think there's a beginner phase that looks pretty. So let me just embrace it for what it is, do what I need to do, because this is what the season comes with anyway. I usually say, the time for sewing, you don't go into the shamba with heels and makeup. You go in with overalls and gumboots and whatever, gloves and everything. But time ya kushine itafika tu. Sa hiyo cha tu tukubali we're in the beginner phase and just embrace it as for what it is. First of all, I had mentioned I had struggled a little bit with building a team in my first few months in the business. We're talking about first few months, we're talking about the first 8-9 months in the business. So this was new. Now I was responsible for a group of people. It's not just clients I'm calling, that clients I can call even when I'm at home. I don't have to necessarily be at the office all the time. Now, this is a group of people. And when Clinton came, he started recruiting very quickly. I remember him getting a certain lady who got into the business. And then that lady got another lady called Daisy. Daisy went crazy with her business. When I say crazy, she got in a lot of people in very early on. And that is actually how to quickly grow in our business, sharing the opportunity with as many people as possible. Clinton also partnered with another gentleman who also got, it was just, let me just say, the team grew very quickly. And my routine of just staying home for the most part and just watching my movies and series and calling my clients and making my profits, I could not do that anymore because now these people depend on me for mentorship. Let me just say, we ended up becoming a very close-knit group. We would, it would be even a small sale like a lip balm because the company sells different products, personal care, skincare, weight management, nutritional supplements. The cheapest product in a company is a lip balm. That is just for context. When somebody would even sell a lip balm, it would be like a celebration. We would literally escort them to the cashier, take them to the product collection area, sit down and go like, wow, where did you get it was such a big deal. And you see, that is what the beginner phase looks like. Even the small things matter. And I believe as a leader, that is the environment you want to be able to cultivate for people to know that, you know what, this small thing is not a small thing after all. Wow, all this celebration for this, somebody is encouraged or motivated to do even more. So I just remember it being, as much as it looked like, well, will these people ever catch on and be able to build the business? Because again, let me also give some context. When you started the business, how you would join, you'd have to get a starter pack. And the starter pack then, I remember it was around 40,000 thereabout. But I was working with, for the most part, students and graduates, so they didn't have that kind of money. So in the office, my team and the team of my immediate upline, we were like the youngest group. And it was a bit of a new thing that new people are starting to get into this kind of business. Because remember, people who would afford 40,000 would be people in the working class. So people would be like, wow, will these people ever, their friends are still people who are not doing very well. But our mentor was a solid rock for us. I really appreciate him wherever he is. He made us believe even where we are right now, we can still be successful. It just requires us to be more aggressive, and commit more and focus more on exactly what we want. And that is what we did. So yeah, it was, somebody waking up in the morning and saying, Rhoda, this is too much, I'm quitting. And then I had to be like a therapist somehow sometimes because, no, you can't quit, there's more to this, it's just the beginner phase, things are going to work out. I had to be so many things. I remember there's a situation where we were going for a conference and one of my team members started nosebleeding. Nothing to do with the business. I don't know what was happening. And I remember rushing to the chemist to get some supplies and ended up becoming a nurse in the bathroom. Sorted the issue. We went for the event. It was just, I was almost like so hands-on. And I think that built the foundation, if I can summarize. It built the foundation for everything that is right now. I'm a realist that is very optimistic. That's to mean I had already embraced what it takes to build this business. And I'm so happy I did that because I knew if I want longevity, I really have to give this time. I really need to be patient. I really need to be consistent. So I was like, I just need to do that over an extended period of time and it would eventually pay off. So I can't say I doubted myself. I just knew, Rhoda, you just need to give it your all within an extended period of time and you'll see your results, because every professional in this industry that will talk about how to be successful here, that's what they would say. And eventually, that's exactly what happened. There's somebody that got into the business and brought in a very big group of people from their campus. And it was very exciting. And actually, that is a group that prompted me to start now a WhatsApp group officially. I was like, hey, now it's like I have a big team. Actually, that was before even the group of Kina Clinton came. This was now way back kidogo. I would say maybe 5th or 6th month in the business, because Kina Clinton came around the 10th month mark. So I remember they got in, I started the group. I started the group on 11th of November, 2015. I was 5 months old in the business. Then I wake up another morning and the whole group has left the WhatsApp group. So I'm looking at my chat group. It's left. Like, surely I'm like, this is what they talked about. Like, people can come and they tell you now this is it, and then they leave. But what kept me going was, first of all, God. Believing that I was in the right place at the right time for the right reason. And I'm here to make an impact. And not everybody is for this opportunity anyway, and it is okay. So I had also gotten to start learning the professionalism, or rather the professional skills that carry the business, which is to let go and not to, chase. What you guys, where are you going? You just go like the people who are meant for this business, who are going to see it for what it is. You're going to go with them. You're going to build with them. And those who won't, it's fine. We can be able to root each other in whatever career paths that we choose. So I would say God for sure, leaning onto faith, and also just leaning onto what is the real thing as far as building this business is concerned. This is expected. Let's keep moving. Let's keep growing. The first signs that I could tell now things are shaping up was when there's an incentive that we call 5cc dinner. If you qualify for this incentive, your upline mentor. Uplines in a business are people who have gone before you, all right? Or people who brought you into the business, directly or indirectly. So when I saw Clinton, Daisy, they've started now qualifying for this incentive. I was like, wow, because I was already a consistent qualifier, because it was clear if you do this, and then it was like the building block of the business. If you qualify for this and teach your team to do the exact same thing, you are making money, they are making money, they are on track as far as growing in the business is concerned. So when I saw that happening, I'm no longer going to these dinners by myself. I'm going with my team. That's when I started realizing something is happening here. We are now on the right trajectory. And let's go back to 2016. That's when Team Clinton came in. And the climax of that, because I remember, like I mentioned, I was fully committed to help this team pick up and grow. And in our business, when you uplift people, you benefit. All right. In fact, the way to go up is to help people go up as well. So I finished off the year as a manager. Manager is a prestigious step in our company. It means now you're at a point where you're making pretty much a very decent income. So I remember getting into 2017 and telling myself, I want to have as many managers as possible in my team, people who at least who can be able to be financially independent, and to think that this would be students going to class and they are making good income. That would mean a lot. And sure enough, 2017, I developed my first manager. 2018, I developed my second manager. Clinton developed Daisy, who was his first manager. So I can say 2017, 2019 was the height of success in my business. All the effort I had put in 2015, 2016 was now starting to pay off. I qualified for many of the company incentives. I started traveling. 2017 was actually the first time I traveled out of the country ever. I never even boarded a plane, by the way. But 2017, for the first time, I saw myself traveling to Dubai, and that now opened my eyes. And I was like, whoa, like there's truly more to this life than just the ordinary. If you put in enough effort, sure enough, exactly what they said from the very beginning, if you just put in your beginner phase, if you just put in enough effort consistently over an extended period of time, it will pay off. It was like perpetual milestones being hit over and over and over again. And definitely the big bonuses were a highlight. It felt good. It felt, yes, I'm finally being rewarded. And for a company like Forever Living Products that truly rewards effort, it was beyond and above what I even expected. Other than Dubai, Zanzibar actually was the second place I went to. Tanzania, several times I've been there. Rwanda, several times. Thailand, France, Italy, Sweden, South Africa, been traveling quite a bit. Let me just say what it has meant to me is, wow, I was not lied to. Let me just put it that I was not lied to. This thing was not exaggerated to me. They meant it, you know. Many times when we see opportunities, especially when it comes to network marketing, because Forever Living Products is a network marketing company. It almost feels like, here we go again. These people who exaggerate things, they hype things up, and then it ends up being something that you regret that you even partnered with in the from the very beginning. For me, being in those planes and landing in places I had never been to was like, they meant business. That's it. It just felt, I'm so happy. I'm so happy they didn't lie. This is true and it's happening. It's real. When I started developing managers in my team, when the managers in my team started developing more managers in their teams, it was like, now this is what they say, the stability. You've started building some stability in your business. You're not just the only superstar in your team. There are other superstars. There are other leaders who are leading their teams within the fraternity of your team. Let me just say, it's seeing the people in my team who are brought in by even other people in my team just grow wings and seeing them soar. If you can't love people enough to want the best for them, it's like, whatever you wish for yourself, wish it onto others. How you wouldn't want to be treated, don't treat others the same way. So the way I would want to be mentored, the way I would want somebody to show up for me as a mentor, trying my level best to do that to the person that considers me a mentor. If you do that, that is literally the Mwa Kenya or forever. If you do that, you'll be able to not only just build a sustainable business, you'll be able to actually transform this whole thing into a real career, which is what has happened. For the past 9 years since I resigned the business, this has been my full-time profession. I can comfortably say I'm Rhoda Mwangi. I'm a trained nurse, but I'm a professional network marketer. I can only say that because I put other people in front of my own, or ahead or over my own interests. So that is exactly what that means. The team culture was showing up at the office. We loved, like I mentioned, the foundation of my beginner phase was, we are doing this together, we are meeting, so that, when you are down, there's somebody to uplift you. When you're the one who is, doing very well, you can be able to uplift others, because when you're starting off, we all need that kind of energy. So that continued on. Now, at the height of COVID, many people in my team, even the leaders who had grown in my team, now had passed on the same culture to their team. So we would meet in the office a lot, and then all of a sudden, #stay at home. People are now working from home. I remember I would get inboxes from my team members. Now, how do we do this kind of activity at home? The activities are better off done at the office. How do I talk to somebody like, I don't even know if we knew Zoom properly, especially in the beginning of COVID. It came on a little later. So I feel that was definitely the time where it was like a very big transition, a bit of confusion. Interestingly enough, there are leaders who grew and grew and took advantage of that period in their own way to be able to grow. So it was like a bittersweet time, but definitely I can say that was, if I can call the hardest hit to my business, that period definitely was. We decided, what is the best that we can be able to do now? I remember transitioning into Zoom. It was strange, clicking a link and joining a meeting where we were used to, we get into a room, we do our thing, energy. We found a way to bring that energy in our virtual meetings, and it worked. Now, on a personal level, I was going through my own things. I remember I was now in my mid-20s, getting into my late 20s. I found myself remember I had a lot of money. Okay, not a lot of money, but I was doing well. 2017, 2019 was the height of my success, like I mentioned. I remember making not very wise decisions. And I usually tell myself, sometimes these lessons come when you're in your early 20s. Mine came in my mid-20s, late 20s. So one thing that period of time, what it taught me was, yes, it doesn't matter how well you're doing, always save up for the rainy season. And number 2, value money, seriously. Number 3, invest in financial literacy, because that really helped me out in knowing how I would be able to navigate getting out of the pit that I had put myself in. Leaning on to God and trusting Him that, I'm a young person. I'm learning these lessons. It doesn't mean that just because I made this mistake, now it's over. Lead me out of this hole. So my faith, definitely. And number two, thank God, I had actually invested in financial literacy classes. Literally, I think it was almost a 6-week course. And that really helped me navigate practically in sorting out that issue that I had. And eventually I got out of it. I knew I had the backup of God. I knew God had my back. We would get out of this. Secondly, practically, thank God for the financial classes, for the financial course that I had subscribed to. The first lesson, I remember the topic was cash flow is king. So I remember embracing that fully and going like, okay, getting out of here, we can't do the victim mentality thing, because even the financial mistake that I made, it was more of, it was almost like, it was not my fault, but also it's my fault because, again, nobody held a gun to my head and made me, make the decision that I made. So I had what I'm trying to say is that I had the leeway to go like, call for a pity party and everything. But I decided cash flow is king. Okay, so how do we make money? This is a business opportunity. This is not like a job where I can only earn this much. Let's look for strategies to make the money, solve the issue, get out of this situation. Another thing, taking a day at a time. Because when you're in a financial crisis, when you look at the whole thing, it's like trying to eat a cake at one go. I decided it's going to be a piece at a time. A piece at a time. One day I'll wake up and there'll be no more cake to eat, thank God. The thing is over. And that's exactly what happened. So just taking a day at a time and doing the best that I can with that day and being patient. Oh, the patience part was not easy. You just want to get out of it and just go back to how life was. So practicing patience, but it taught me a lot. 50%, I'm very, very grateful to God to get me to being able to get me to this point. The truth is, to say you've done business for 10 years and you still actually have a business standing, I'm very grateful for that because I know it's not an ordinary thing. The other 50% is when I look back at myself starting up the business in 2015, did I think I'd be here? I knew I would be at a much, much, much better place. So there's a part of me that's like, hey, Rhoda, you got complacent, especially during COVID, kidogo. I would still show up. My team cannot say at any point that Rhoda disappeared. We didn't know where she was. But there's a certain level of aggressiveness that I lost and I got a bit complacent. And that is why there's a 50% part of me is like, I could have been at a better place if I just retained the same level of consistency. I've realized success and failure are not opposites. They coexist. They're actually friends. Failure is part and parcel of... Okay, failure cannot exist without success. Success cannot exist without failure. There's no way to skip failure and just say, let me start and it's going to be success throughout. That's for lack of a better word, delusional. So I've just embraced failure as part of the process. Purpose, that drives everything. When the challenges come, which I have faced a fair share of them, it keeps you grounded. Why did I start? What is my purpose here? What is that thing that is above me or beyond me that is so important that will keep me going? So have your purpose very clear. Some people call it your why. What is your why? Have it very clear. You'll need it. You'll need it when things go rough. Leadership is very interesting. It's very interesting in the sense that it's only you who knows what your angle is. Only you who can be able to see your angle. And by that, I mean, when people look up to you, it's almost like, you have it all together. You're the strong one. But at the end of the day, your leader is still a human. They still have their own things. Especially when I think about what I was going through, especially in 2021 and 2022. Those, Rhoda, the person, if I just focused on what was happening in my life, I would have my business would have gone so low, And how I operated, if let's say, I would before all that, I would be very keen with talking to somebody, knowing how they are doing. Me, I'm trying to survive in my own personal life. So there's somebody who might look at it and go like, well, how come Rhoda is no longer? So there's that level of, hey, as leaders, we are also humans. Also the way you would go through your own thing, think to yourself, maybe she's not acting or not showing up the way I'm used to her showing up because she is also facing her own thing. You get what I mean? And then another thing is, yes, leaders should lead by example, but at the same time, I believe as mentees, the whole point of having a leader is for you to be inspired to also be a leader. Get to a point where I want to also be independent enough to also impact other people's lives as a leader the way my leader has been to me. So it's also from our angle, we are like, I can't wait for you to also grow to the point where, yes, I'm happy that you're cooperating with me, but I want you to get to a point where now you can also be a leader in your own right. You get what I mean? As somebody who wants, this I think began from when I was a nurse. I want, the end goal is you feel better. If you're in hospital, get discharged. So now in my business, it's like you've come into my team. I want you to be successful. So in my head, I'm like, because you want to be successful, and I realize now you're not, maybe you've also started getting complacent, you're not as consistent. I'll challenge you and I'll be like, hey, this is where we were going. Let's get back on track. Sometimes that can be misinterpreted as, hey, you're being a bit too much. So what I've learned, that is something that I've also learned during the process, is sometimes the things that you want for people, they don't want for themselves. Or if they want it for themselves, not to the level that you want, and it is okay. I've learned to also step back a little bit and let things flow. Learn where to accelerate, learn where to break. Because I've sometimes found myself overdoing it, but from a very, very, very good place. So I think that is one of the things I can mention as far as being misunderstood, that I can also practice a lot of tough love. That sometimes can make somebody feel like, ish, Bana, surely. But it's all coming from a good place. Don't just go with the words. Don't just go with, what happened. Just go deeper, Look at their patterns. How have they shown up for you? How have they shown up for your interests? Most of the time when you look at the patterns, you'll go like, actually, she's genuine. And that was just a moment of whatever that was. Let me not conclude their whole identity and persona from just one thing. That is another thing about when it comes to being misunderstood. You can have a very good track record, of being the best and doing the best for somebody or for a group of people. One mistake, again, because there's this tendency of people looking at you like you should be like perfect. So it's almost like a mistake is like from you, hey, it's like a big, big, big thing. So yeah, extend some grace to your leader a little bit. Look at the track record. That will tell you everything that you need to know. When I think about my next level, right now, 10 years in, I'm looking at exploring more when it comes to the leadership front. On the mentorship front, on every front that incorporates impacting people. Just going like, what else can Rhoda do with what I've gathered the past 10 years? I'm open-minded enough to explore. Keep God very, very, very close because I feel like my relationship with him grew the closest during that turbulent time. 2021, 2022, I would say keep God very close. His wisdom will carry you through things. And what else would I tell that 13-year-old? It's gonna work out. Your ambitions are valid. Yes, there's more to you than what you have achieved or what you are currently doing. And just keep going. And don't forget why you're here. You feeling lost is the beginning of you finally finding where you need to be and who you need to be. So it's almost like what I was talking about, success, failure. It's part of the process of you eventually finding your purpose. So don't stop searching, keep going. It's not a problem per se, it's just the season that you're in. You're going to get to the season where now you know exactly what you're doing, your purpose is clear, and you're feeling fulfilled with what you're doing. Every single story is worth listening to, and every story deserves to be told.